Hello students, welcome to Notebook. Today we shall discuss the chapter Tertiary and Quaternary Activities. What do we mean by tertiary activities? Tertiary activities are services which are provided in return for a fee. For example, a doctor. Tertiary activities are an important part of the service sector whose main component is manpower. Tertiary activities are thus performed by skilled professionals with experience and expertise. What then is the difference between tertiary activities and secondary activities? The main difference between secondary activities and tertiary activities is that in the tertiary activities, people provide their services which are based on specialized skills, experience, and knowledge. While in the secondary activities, workers provide services based on the production techniques, machinery, and factory processes. Now, there are 4 types of tertiary activities: trade, transport, communication, and services. Trade and commerce. Trade and commerce involves buying and selling of items that are not produced locally. The places where trading takes place are called trading centers. These trading centers can be divided into rural marketing centers and urban marketing centers. Rural marketing centers are basic distribution points that cater to the needs of the surrounding settlements. The personal and professional services are not well developed in these marketing centers, but they cater to the needs of the rural people. Most rural markets have mandis or the wholesale markets and the periodic markets which are scheduled on specific days for specific times. Next we have the urban marketing centers. Urban marketing centers provide both common goods and specialized products and services. In such trading centers, one can avail the help of teachers, lawyers, and schooling institutions as well. Other than the 2 discussed marketing systems, we also have the retail services and the wholesale services under trade and commerce. When you require groceries or clothes, you directly go into a shop and get those things, don't you? This is possible because of the retail business. Thus, retail services involve selling goods directly to the consumers. Under this, we also have the consumer cooperatives, the departmental stores, and the chain stores. The other non-store forms of retail trading are door-to-door services, hand carts, mail order, etc. Now, where do these retail traders or businessmen buy their goods from? They get their goods from wholesale traders. Wholesale trading is thus selling and buying of goods in bulk directly from the manufacturer. Once the goods are brought from the manufacturer, how do they reach the retailers? This brings us to the topic of transport and communication. The transport system is used to cater to man's needs of mobility. Goods, products, raw materials, and people are transported from one place to another using this system. Distance, time, and cost are the 3 factors which are weighed while selecting a mode of transport. Distance can be measured in kilometer distance. Time taken to travel a particular route can be measured in the time distance, and the expense of traveling on the route as is the cost distance. Now, there are 2 factors on which transport depends. These are demand for transport. The larger the population size, the greater is the demand for transport. Routes of transport. Transport routes are affected by the location of cities, towns, villages, industrial centers, and raw materials and the interrelations between these places. Do you know that all forms of transport are also referred to as lines of communication? This brings us to the next topic of communication services. Roads, sea routes, and air routes were used to transfer ideas and messages from one part of the world to the other. Thus, all forms of transport came to be known as lines of communication. However, in today's world, as mobile phones, satellites, and the internet system have made communications independent of transport. Mass media, which includes radio and television, also helps to communicate or broadcast messages and pictures. Along with these, we have the newspapers also. Think about where you get your newspaper from. Who delivers it to you? Have you ever thought about the service provider? Not just the newspaper boy, but there are several other services that are provided to us. Let's discuss about them now. Some services cater to people. Some services are modeled for industrial purposes. Some services are of low order, while some are of high order. Examples of some low order services are grocery shops and laundries, while some high order services are ones like those of accountants, lawyers, and physicians. People like the barber, carpenter, and gardener perform physical labor, while teachers, physicians, and musicians perform mental labor. On the other hand, healthcare, engineering, law, and management services are professional services provided by trained professionals. Other than these, we also have several personal services provided by unskilled workers who migrate from rural areas in search of jobs. Examples of such service providers are housekeepers, cooks, and gardeners. Next, we shall discuss tourism as a service-providing industry. Tourism helps in increasing the economic prospects of a place. However, tourism is dependent on some factors. These are landscape. People generally like to spend their holidays in a beautiful environment. It could be mountains, lakes, coastal areas, and other natural landscapes unaltered by mankind. Climate. Most people from colder regions travel to have warm, sunny weather for beach holidays. The Mediterranean climate attracts the most number of tourists. This is because it offers comfortable higher temperatures, long hours of sunshine, and low rainfall throughout the peak holiday season. People who prefer winter holidays have specific climatic requirements like snow cover suitable for skiing or temperatures higher than their own hometown. History and art. People visit ancient or picturesque towns and archaeological sites and enjoy exploring castles, palaces, and churches. Culture. Tourists who have a preference for experiencing ethnic and local customs visit places that are culturally rich. Other than the tertiary sector, we also have the quaternary and the quinary sector. Quaternary activities are knowledge-oriented. It involves the collection, production, and dissemination of knowledge and information. The quaternary activities involve specialized knowledge, technical skills, and administrative competence. Software developers, doctors, and accountants are some examples of quaternary activities. Quinary activities. The highest level of decision makers or policymakers perform the quinary activities. These are often referred to as gold-collar professions. They are specialized and highly paid skilled professions in the fields of business, government, and research, financial and legal matters. Services such as information technology, customer support, and call center services are outsourced or contracted out to overseas locations outside. This transferring of work is described as offshoring of work. Our last topic of the day is the digital divide. Digital divide is the uneven distribution in the access to information and communications technologies around the world. Some parts of the world are technologically more advanced than the others. This divide exists even within a country. For example, urban India has more access to internet services than rural India. With that, we come to the end of this video lesson. We hope this helps you in your revision work. See you next in the recap and question and answer video lessons.